All right,
I
Grant,
don't
pre-show
have. Okay,
shenanigans.
yeah, you have the
Okay.
pre-show.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
I have a pre-show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was.
pre-show shenanigans. We were sitting there just waiting for one of us to start it, so I'll do it. Um, Instead of talking about it in the episode, we're gonna mention it here because of what I want to say about it. Vikings signed Daniel Jones to the practice squad today, and
I didn't see that.
they
Okay.
did, they did. But Grant,
I think
what if I
he.
told
Okay.
you?
Yeah. Go on. Go on.
What if I told you Daniel Jones is the only quarterback in the NFC to ever beat Lamar Jackson?
Really?
Daniel Jones is the only quarterback in the NFC to ever beat Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is 23-1 as a starter versus the NFC. His one loss against Daniel Jones.
I'm gonna guess that came early in Lamar's career.
I'm going to guess that came on the resurgence year 2022.
Okay. I have no
That's my
idea.
guess.
That would add up. That makes sense. But yeah, no. We know as a fact, as an NFL fandom community, Lamar Jackson does not lose to the NFC. We know that as fact. Uh but also knowing this little tidbit, Daniel Jones is the CJ Beathard to
Yeah, it
Aaron
was.
Rodgers, the Josh Rosen to
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
yeah.
Yeah, no, Daniel Jones definitely has value in a backup. Now, you know what? This
Wait
is
a second,
something.
Grant. Wait a second. With Josh Rosen, is maybe the Vikings are just signing quarterbacks that have a history of being the only ones to
To
beat
knock off a top
a
dog.
quarterback. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
like
just Josh Rosen was signed last year, Daniel Jones this
now
year.
I was hearing this recently, and I actually agree. Backup quarterback rankings. Oh, Daniel Jones is in that upper echelon of backup
Yeah.
quarterback
Yeah. Yeah.
tiers. He's in that
Not a
top
good
tier.
starter. Not a
Yeah.
good starter, but
Hey,
backup. Yeah.
a
Hey.
full 17 game season, you shouldn't be like expecting too much success. But if we're just talking a couple starts here and there, like you just need to make like one or two, maybe three starts is pushing it. One or two starts per season to give your a team a chance to win. I like Danny
Hey,
Dimes
I
as
mean,
that
I, I
backup.
I like it. I like it even as a backup. Like
I don't want to toot my own
you could hit a
horn, but
little
I'd
hit a
put Taylor
little
Heineke up there too. Just a one
you
game
could
start. Heineke's up there.
you could hit a little QB power package with Daniel Jones too. Like just
Oh,
throw
you're
something in.
running
Yeah.
the shit out of
Yeah.
him for that one or two starts. The absolute shit
No,
out of
no, no,
these
no. I'm not
guys.
even saying. I'm not even saying. I'm saying as a backup, just say, hey, made a special package for you,
Oh,
QB,
like a Justin
QB power.
Fields
Yeah,
4th and 1 type of
exactly,
situation. Okay,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I'll be honest, Justin Fields, that's my guy, but like I think the Steelers should leave
Hey,
Russ in on 4th and 1 personally, but
if anybody, you're just saying that because you don't want Justin Fields to get fancy. But if
well, yeah,
anybody,
that's slightly contributed to it, but Justin Fields
if
doesn't have the greatest
if
history in those little
if anybody
situations.
would bring back the Ravens three quarterback package from a couple years ago,
Yes, yes.
it would be Kevin O'Connell.
Now, just making
Which
sure that we have our history in fact and in check. The three quarterback package was Lamar at quarterback, Tyler
yes,
Huntley at tailback, and then RG3 as like the split back,
I
correct?
believe so. Yes, I believe
We'll
so.
have to verify that. Not going to verify it now for the Waterboy faithful. You know how we do it here, but we'll look that up eventually. But I believe
I
that
believe
was
that
the
was the
package.
correct.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw a Trace McSorley in there, but I think he was the fourth. I think he got left out.
Wait, Trace
It was the
had
fourth.
to have been in there.
It was
He's
from the
like the
practice squad.
definition of that wildcat quarterback you want on the field who could go like make a catch. Like
I think
that's
he
what
was P
Trace is
squad.
for.
I think he was P squad during that.
Like I this isn't true, but if you were to tell me Penn State with McSorley and Saquon had the most success on wildcat plays with Saquon at quarterback and McSorley at receiver, I wouldn't be surprised because I think it would work. I believe it would have
That's the same
worked.
thing that we did with Mike and Tajay, by the way.
Oh
That's what we
yeah,
did.
I do remember that. Yeah, no,
And that was
Tajay
pretty
got
successful.
wildcat looks. Oh yeah, I remember that. Uh,
A lot of wildcat
yeah,
looks.
I
A
am
lot.
remembering now. But yeah, we may see some trickery. out of KOC. So
It'd be great. I'd
we'll,
love to
we'll
see that.
I will keep that in the
I really
facts and
hope
stat pages.
that if he does decide to do like a QB package for Daniel Jones, I really hope the first time he ever runs it, he has Daniel Jones throw,
Just
just
making
so
sure.
going forward they don't think that he's going to just be
Yeah.
running.
Yeah, just making sure Darnold is only under contract for one season, correct?
Yes, the whole basis of it was you get him on the practice squad. There's no other quarterback besides JJ McCarthy on the
Yeah, at
contract
that
for
time
next year.
JJ wasn't hurt too, so it
Yeah,
was
but
a
it's
bridge.
also just JJ McCarthy's the only quarterback under contract after this season. Everybody else is a free agent. So if
Okay.
you have Daniel Jones, you might like the building. You might be able to bring him back on cheap for be a
Well, I'll
backup.
also say I think JJ McCarthy would also be excellent in a three quarterback package. He can do all the
Oh
receiving
yeah,
shit.
yeah. No, he
So
can. We've seen him. He can.
if KO like that one play against Bama when he made the one-handed catch like
Yep.
behind his head to catch the lateral,
Yep.
I was like, what the hell am I watching? But yeah, that's the only time you'll see me give him credit on this podcast. But yeah, interesting stuff this week. This is going to be a fun week. A lot of news, not just in the football world, but outside of football as well. But I think that's going to do it for the pre-show. Danny Dimes getting his second career in Minnesota.
Yes,
let's see how it
you can
turns
thank
out.
Ed Donatel. Yes.
No, it all comes full circle. Everything comes full circle. The more things change, the more they say stay the same, folks. But without further ado, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 277, and happy Thanksgiving to all the Waterboy faithful listening right now. This is going up on Thanksgiving morning. If we have any Waterboy faithful listening right now on Thanksgiving,
if you're listening right now,
we may be the background noise to
if you are, hey, dinner. I'm just going to say this one thing.
We might be
the best game on. I know Dolphins play the Packers. Best game on Tulane or Memphis at Tulane. 6:30 p.m. Thanksgiving night.
Oh yeah, the Thanksgiving slate of NFL games is not very enticing.
I do think. Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm gonna save that because I don't know if you saw this. No, I'm saying that I don't want to influence your picks. So
we'll yeah. We'll get into it. But a lot of news coming out right now. This is of course rivalry week, Thanksgiving week, big time in the college football world. But we got some other news. Got to address first. Everett, real quick little fun fact. I'm not sure if you saw this, but Dan Hurley had a mega freak out the other night.
Yes.
To lose, he quite literally threw the game for UConn, getting teed up in overtime with like a minute left in a tie game, giving the other team free throws and the ball. He lost his team the game, and instead, I didn't expect him to change his tone how he is as a coach. But Dan Hurley, instead of being like, I lost my cool in the moment, I got to be better, and I can't be punishing my team like that. He doubled down in his post-game press conference, saying the refs are atrocious and awful, and they should not be anywhere near
you know what?
College basketball.
Round of applause though, because that's what everybody wants to say.
No, I'm gonna give him some respect for sticking to how he is and not changing his ways. But I was just thinking how, like, I'm not sure if you saw this, but LeBron has already publicly complained about JJ Redick. LeBron had a dream the other week ever. He tweeted this out. He goes, I woke up from a dream where I was playing at Duke in college for Coach K. It was the greatest dream I've ever had, getting to play for Coach K and learn from him. And I just thought it was interesting to tweet that out when the Lakers had like just dropped a close game with a questionable JJ coaching decision late. Interesting how LeBron had that dream right after that game. Like, and we're talking like 5 games into the season. Like already LeBron's trying to get JJ fired. But
Le GM, baby, Le GM.
Yeah, what I was just thinking, if Dan Hurley was actually the head coach of the Lakers, I think LeBron would have already had him gone.
Maybe. I also think that LeBron can't get JJ fired because the only reason Bronny is currently on the Lakers is because JJ Redick was like, all right, fine, I'll let him play.
Yeah,
You
I
think
don't
Dan
think
Hurley's letting
JJ.
Bronny James play in the first game of the season? Fuck no.
Yeah, hey, I'll be honest. Considering that the recent clip, PMT, they were interviewing Dan Hurley, and they told him, "Hey, Dan, when your son enters the game, you guys have never lost." And Dan Hurley like took that and is like, "Well, my son only has an opportunity to check into the game when it's a 40-point blowout, so that would make a lot of sense." And
You
he
know
pretty
what?
much crapped all over his son, saying if I actually gave him
I
quality minutes, we'd lose.
I
So I
respect
respect him for
I
that. I
respect that.
respect
Yeah,
him.
I respect that.
Yeah. And
No
hey,
nepo babies here. No nepo babies.
oh no. And if you like look up Dan Hurley's family history, oh yeah, no. There's no handouts in that family. You got to earn
Yeah,
everything that you
yeah.
quote deserve. But yeah, that Dan Hurley thing was interesting. Just had me thinking how awful that would have gone in LA if he truly took
Oh
that
no,
job.
yeah.
It would have been a
No, not
disaster.
good. Not a great.
But other fun LA news, fun part. Blake Snell, Everett, is a Los Angeles Dodger. Not a move I was expecting to see on a
No,
Tuesday
no,
night.
that was not one that we were talking about having happen.
Not something I was expecting to see for my Tuesday
5 year
night.
contract. 5 year
5 years,
contract with deferred money.
182 million. Yes, I'm still
Deferred.
waiting to see the exact details on all that. I don't think it's like a
I also
high
love people are
deferral.
like people
It's
are obviously complaining about it because why wouldn't they be? But the
yeah.
bigger
I
thing
mean,
is
I'd be
like
pissed too
I
if
saw
I was.
somebody I saw somebody's tweet being like, yeah, the ownership's just deferring all the money so then they can sell the team and it's not their problem. First of all, we don't know whether or not they're going to sell the team. Probably will, but we
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
We don't know.
Honestly,
They
at
probably
this
will, but we
point,
don't
it's
know.
like I think
We
they
don't
kind of
know.
like
Yeah. But
what's
the other
going
thing
on.
is,
So
the money's going to be deferred, but you forget how much money the Dodgers are raking in right now.
they've
Um,
already returned on the Shohei Ohtani. They have
so I would
already
not be
profited.
too concerned about the money being deferred because it's not gonna really impact the team's
Yeah.
abilities and tenure.
No, it's
5 years,
it's
whatever.
not. And also another thing I was looking up, like fun fact, this year the Dodgers are paying Justin Turner deferred contract money. That money does not apply to the salary cap or
Yeah.
anything.
The other thing,
Bobby
the other
Bonilla Day
thing,
does not apply to the Mets salary cap, folks.
no,
So
the other thing too, though, I saw this because obviously Padre fans getting all pissy about it. Um, Grant, can you tell me who the team that spent the most money in 2023 was?
in terms of dollar figure number amount, it was the New York Mets.
The team that spent the most money, the answer I was looking for was the Padres. Padres spent, I believe, 93.
Oh, I get in terms of new acquisitions that would
new
be
acquisitions.
that would be correct.
They spent
That would be
$930
correct.
million on new acquisitions in 2023, surpassing what the Dodgers did in 2023. They spent the most money, and then the Dodgers obviously 1.2 billion. But at that point, not much difference between 930 and 1.2. Really, not that much of a difference.
Yeah, and I mean
right?
when it comes to just overall salary looking, comparing teams that way, like payroll and success, like one of the Dodgers' top earners didn't throw a pitch for us in the playoffs, Tyler Glasnow.
Yep.
Like, hey,
Also,
the
I
money
saw
you do
somebody
need to spend to win. You do.
I saw
Don't get me
somebody
wrong,
say, "Hey,
but
Nick Saban said it all comes down to you can spend the money, but you need to know who you're spending money
yeah.
on, right? You
It
can fuck
comes
it
down
up."
to what you spend that on.
But also, like I saw somebody say this, it was like, did you really think that they were just gonna get Shohei Ohtani and be like, nope, not spending any more money on any of the big free agents?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
what?
it's literally in Shohei's contract that he can leave the Dodgers if he believes the Dodgers aren't trying to win a championship.
Yeah,
So like the Dodgers
crazy.
kind of have to, or else he'll leave.
And I will still die on this hill. Like the Dodgers, there are owners that have the ability to spend
Yeah,
the money that the Dodgers are spending.
Steve Cohen is, I believe, the current offer to Soto is 700 million from the Mets. He's spending the money. Hey, Mets fans who are complaining, like, dude, Steve Cohen's spending a lot of money right now.
Maybe
he is
don't
spending.
Maybe don't spend all that money on two pitchers that have an injury history and
in their late 30s.
Yeah. Maybe don't do that. Maybe we don't do that.
Yeah, no, it
But
just comes down to how
we'll
you
see.
spend it. Yeah.
We'll see. I immediately texted you being concerned about this, meaning we're not going to get
Yeah.
Roki Sasaki.
Objectively speaking, this has zero impact on Roki Sasaki at all.
Money is not the money. The money is different. Obviously, it's international
yeah,
pool versus actual pool. But my thought process was, okay, if we're spending money on this pitcher, that kind of feels like we're getting a pitcher now.
I get what you're saying. But like another thing, I'm thinking like, hey, we just saw last year we were literally hanging by a thread at the end of the season with the starters.
I
Like
mean,
at this point, you kind of need to go into a season like with 9 starting pitchers in mind because
the
they're going to
Dodgers
get
are going to have that now. Because
and
okay, let's play.
We're going to a
this
6-man rotation also. Remember,
let's play this game. All right, we have Shohei Ohtani, we have Yamamoto, we have Tyler Glass. Now we're gonna have 4. Right now, you're frozen. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're good. You're back.
We got those 4 pitchers. My internet's currently unstable, I guess, and I can't hear you now. Now we're
I'm
good.
picking
now we're
you
good
up,
now. I don't
so
know where
you're good.
off, but
I got all that, so keep going.
Oh, all right. I don't know what's going on, but we have those 4 pitchers, right? Clayton Kershaw probably is going to come back. And
later.
In an ideal world, we'll have Roki Sasaki, and that will be the 6th. And then coming back, we'll still have Gonzo. Dustin May is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin May is coming back.
Yep.
Bobby, if he figures it out.
Yeah, and I'm not. I said Bobby Miller was dead like 3 months ago. This is baseball. Like bad years can happen.
My point is, we're gonna get to a point like
him.
I texted you too. I'm like, Dustin May might end up being a reliever next year.
Oh yeah, and I expect 100% for the postseason run for him to be that bulk reliever.
Yeah,
kind of like Julio's role in 2020. Dustin was also kind of that bulk reliever in that 2020 run too, but I expect him to be a guy.
He pitches better like a reliever than he does as a
yeah, and also with his just profile, like you want his stuff out of a reliever, like throws 100 plus, crazy, nasty break. Like you want that from a reliever. I mean, if we could just quickly, always keeps that fang on him. But if we're just talking lineup or rotation real quick, like from day one, and I'm literally going to do from day one. Ohtani will pitch that first game in Japan. So our overseas opening series will be in Japan against the Cubs. Cubs obviously have a ton of Japanese players, Shota and Seiya Suzuki. So a lot of Japanese players on both sides, but Ohtani's 1,000,000% starting game 1. Duh. Don't even need to think about that. And I would believe they would make Yama's would Yama or Roki get that? I think they might give it to Roki over Yama just because it's in Japan and Yama got his last year. Ohtani's obviously starting one of them, so that's out of the question.
Well, with the way Yamamoto played at the end of the season,
he definitely deserves it. But I think, I think Yama might even be the one to be like, let Roki have this start.
I think that might be the case, and it might also be like, hey, we're selling tickets. Yamamoto was the it thing last year. Like he's still going to sell, but if you're like watch Roki Sasaki's first MLB appearance.
Maybe Yama's thinking from last year, I don't want another 6-run spot in the first.
You know how many people from Japan went to Korea to watch Yamamoto pitch the game? Like,
I know it's crazy,
kidding, but it's still.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how crazy they are. But I expect that to happen. But okay, from day one, Friday, that opening day series, Ohtani's going to pitch opening day. Day 2, it should be Blake Snell. 3 should be Glass now. 4 Yama, 5 Roki, and then 6 Catman or May. Whoever's feeling better. It's
probably going to be Gonzo.
Yeah, whoever's feeling better. I got no idea. Yeah. I would trust Gonsolin more to get through a season than Dustin. So I could understand if they just want to start out with Gonzo.
Yeah, and then you're going to get Kershaw on later in the season anyways. So
let's assume All-Star break, post-All-Star break, we'll get him back. Let's assume that.
Yeah. Why even risk? Why even risk?
No, yeah. Hey, like we've been saying, like we don't need all these guys to win the NL West and clinch the 1 seed. We don't need all them. We need them in October when the games matter. So,
Yeah.
hey, like when I don't know if he'll be healthy, but like if River Ryan and Nick Frasso and those guys are giving us innings this year, that'll be exciting to watch the future of Dodger pitching. So
let's
like,
give Glasnow some load management innings. Like just
no,
hit him out. Just
no,
don't let him
quite
pitch.
literally. Like, I also do not want Tyler Glasnow to ever throw over 100 pitches in a start ever again in his career, because it's just, you're asking for disaster. You're. It's like he's never shown in his career he's able to stay durable through a full season. What makes you think he's going to do it now? Like,
yeah, he's not. He's not.
Yeah,
Quite
it's
literally not.
Yeah, he's also like 6'8", 250. Like, it's ridiculous how he does what he does. So yeah,
right,
that was
Grant,
Dodger talk though. Fun little.
Let's move into the NFL here.
Yeah.
First thing that I wanted to say was apparently, just a little fun fact, Mike McDaniel, his daughter, has properly guessed the outcome of every Dolphins game this year.
Just this season.
Just this season.
Okay.
But apparently, like, his daughter has verbally told him whether or not he's going to win or lose the game, and then that outcome has occurred every single game.
So what did she say this week? Do we know?
I think she's like 4. She's 4 years old. We don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the clip recently of him having his daughter for the post-game press conference saying, I'll just be honest, I'll get it out of the way. I just want easy questions today, so I brought my daughter. I liked how he got out in front of it, just, admitted, like, but also I thought it was interesting because, like, the Dolphins had just won a pretty impressive game, and like, that's not the game to whip out the daughter shield card. Like, that's not the game. You were about to get praised in that press conference.
He just did it for the pure love.
No, literally, he did it for the bit, like the joke. Like, he did not need any protection. Like, they just put on a clinic. But
also, can we just talk about how much of a disaster it would be if Jerry Jones actually extends Mike Fat Carthy? Did you see this report?
I think it's probably more likely than not. Jerry Jones has a blind loyalty to his guys, and yeah, I would lean more likely than not.
If that happens, if I was a Cowboys fan, I would actually like riot. Like, what more does he need to do to show you he's not capable of running?
Yeah,
and everything that's happening right now with Cooper Rush winning these games, that doesn't help the situation.
No, it does not. No. And I'll also be honest. Like, I think I personally see so many comparisons, similarities between Cowboys fans and Manchester United fans. Okay, they were great, historic at some point. Not in our lives. Well, Man U was, but you get what I'm saying. It's been a while. But like, Man U fans have been calling for their manager's head over and over for the past years, and they finally got that guy fired. Finally, Ten Hag out.
Quite literally,
but
the whole basis.
Cowboys fans need to have that energy with their team.
The whole basis of what Jerry Jones was saying was, yeah, Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning head coach. Like,
in like
he's done it before. He can do it again. He did it over a decade ago, Grant. That's how he did it 12 years ago was when they won that Super Bowl. Yeah, I think the game has changed a little bit since then. Also, the team he won it with, if they thought the same thing, they wouldn't have fired him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe there's something going on. I don't know. But okay, Grant, week 13 game slate.
Honestly, I literally think Aaron Rodgers just loved Mike Fat Carthy because he could bully him around. When LaFleur came in, LaFleur was just like, Aaron, like, you made a bad throw, and he's like, shut up, I'm better than you. So like, I could see that happening. And if under Fat Carthy, Aaron makes a mistake, and then Fat Carthy will start chewing out the right tackle for Rodgers' mistake. So he loved him. That's what I would imagine that relationship went. But
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I would say this is a relatively boring slate. But
just guess the lowest ticket price for the Giants Cowboys game tomorrow.
Lowest for Giants Cowboys. Now, I feel like despite the current state of things, I feel like there's still enough hype around the Cowboys Thanksgiving to have something
Remember, it
nice.
is in Jerry's world.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no,
if you think
no.
about it, you know.
I think despite all of it, and I'm starting to have a little hate watch fandom ticket price spike in my head. I'm gonna say lowest. I have no idea what these ranges, by the way. Lowest is 180.
Lowest ticket price for the Giants Cowboys game is $28.
Oh my god, that's got to be a record. I don't think Jerry World's ever
I
sold
don't.
seats that
No, I
cheap.
don't think that it's never been that low.
Okay, all right, yeah. I've never been to Jerry World. I'm not familiar with Jerry World ticket prices,
It's a
so
cool place, minus the
seems
sun.
cool. Seems really cool.
Minus the
Yeah,
sun.
not if you're a receiver playing
Practicing
on that end zone.
practicing in Jerry's World, because when we practiced for the Cotton Bowl, we practiced in Jerry's World.
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah.
we practiced there. I think our practice time was 11 a.m., like 10 or 11 a.m. So when we'd be mid practice, like the sun would start coming through, and we were just all sitting there. We were like, "Oh, this is gonna be an issue."
Yeah,
Like,
it makes you think
not great.
like what at what stage in the construction of the stadium do you think Jerry Jones realized, oh
Well,
shit?
hey, he covers it up for everything but the
Oh,
football
oh,
games.
oh no, no, I know. Like, so Jerry's quite aware, but you'd have to imagine at some point they're like 70% done with the construction, and you start to see this little light hole forming, and Jerry's like, oh, why did we build the stadium at this angle so the light perfectly blinds everyone in the end zone at this time of
Like,
day where
if you
all of our
rotated
games
it,
are played at 3
if you
p.m.
rotated it so that light shined just on the other team on their sideline,
Yeah,
great
yeah,
advantage.
sideline, yes, but
Great
when it's in
advantage.
end zone, it's like, dude,
Which, by
what
the
are we
way,
doing?
that's what the Viking Stadium does. Like, the Viking Stadium is angled, and they put the away team sideline where the
Oh
light
yeah,
shines through the
and
roof.
Hard Rock, the shade for the home side
Mm-hmm.
in the sun
Yep.
for like
Yep.
that's smart construction
Still one of, if not
architecture,
the greatest
goaded
home field
architecture.
advantages
The
for
Dolphins.
a team. Yeah.
Oh
When
yeah,
it gets
no,
to like
it's
100
absurd,
degrees on the field. Yeah.
especially
Crazy.
early season when it's still
No, no,
scorching.
no. When the Bills come in to play in November, it
No,
doesn't.
no, no. I like earlier this year, the Bills got bailed out with a Thursday night game in Miami,
No,
like second week
literally.
of the year. And I was like, oh my God, the NFL saved the Bills. Because last year, the NFL saved the Dolphins, giving them at Buffalo like week 2.
Yeah, so
Saved them.
they had to play, a fairness, right?
No, yeah, like
Okay,
literally.
Grant, last week I went 7-6. You went 8-5. We are now
Yeah.
tied on the season at 102 wins. 102 wins, 60 losses.
Yeah, we are
Grant,
both sitting at 62.96%, rounding up to
yes.
63. Based on past trends, results, everything, this is the best Ever and I have ever been doing, ever, at this late into the season. Not even
now,
close.
I will say my trend I have been going down since week 9, but usually at this point I have had a disaster week, like 3-10.
Oh yeah,
I have not.
We're still waiting
yet.
on that. That's still coming for both of us. There's going to be a week where we both just don't see shit clearly on the board. So that's going to
might be this week. It might be this week. My head is not in the game right now. If anybody is aware of what I am doing at the moment and everything I have going on, my head is not in the game.
But yeah, I'll be honest. I'm sniffing a couple of traps this week. I'm sniffing
I
a couple.
Thinking that as well.
And yeah, no, there's one I'm really eyeing up.
Okay. All right. Well, here are the games, Grant. Here are the games. Thursday night, Thanksgiving, or not Thursday night, Thanksgiving Day, 11:30 a.m. We have Bears at Lions. Afternoon game is Giants at Cowboys. Night game, Dolphins at Packers. All right. Friday, Raiders at Chiefs.
Real quick, why is there a football game on Friday?
They wanted to outdo college football, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah, but like, why? What? Raiders, Chiefs. Oh, goody. Woo. My Friday's now great. What? Like, unless you have fantasy players in this game, there's zero reason to tune in. If you're betting on that game, like, dude, we gotta have a talk. Like, no. But Raiders to cover if you were going to bet on that one. But yeah,
Sunday,
Like
Cardinals at
Max
Vikings.
Crosby over 0.5 sacks. That's actually the play of that game. But sorry. Just I don't know
Sunday,
why we
noon.
have
You
that.
just like interrupts me. It's all right. Noon. Cardinals at Vikings, Chargers at Falcons, Steelers at Bengals, Colts at Patriots, Seahawks at Jets, Titans at Commanders, and Texans at Jaguars. 3 o'clock games. Rams at Saints, Bucks at Panthers, Eagles at Ravens. Sunday night, 49ers at Buffalo. And Monday night, we have the Broncos taking on the Browns in Mile High. Grant, here are my games. Here are my picks. All right. I realize, I was being a little too getting a little bit too fancy with it. I was kind of playing with my food a little bit. So I'm trying to dial it back in. I start to just kind of take some games, being like, hey, maybe this will upset, maybe this won't. I kind of go away from what I do at the start of the year. So hopefully I fix it this week. But Lions, Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, Vikings, Chargers, Bengals, Colts, Seahawks, Commanders, which I don't love because it's a cliff, Texans, Rams, Bucks, which is also, I don't know, Ravens, Bills, and Broncos.
Yeah, so only one difference this week out of us. And with that being said, I expect this to be a disaster week for us. This might be the 4-12 week that we're fearing, and hopefully it doesn't happen for the sake of overall Waterboy success. But okay. Yeah. I have same everything as you except for one Thanksgiving divisional game. I have Lions, Giants, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Vikings. You get the rest. But
I was debating between the Giants and the Cowboys.
This is my Tommy DeVito game. This is it.
Drew Lock is starting.
What? Oh, fuck.
I'll give you an out. I will give you an out. You can have it right now.
No, I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to it. But damn it.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito is.
There's no analysis. I was about to have some vibes analysis. I was going to bring up again how I re-commented on Sean Stellato, his agent's TikTok. He's responding to me. I may or may not be in DMs with Tommy DeVito's agent right now. So, yeah, that's irrelevant. Yeah, I'll still rock with the Giants because they're rocking with me. But boy, I don't love that one now.
Yeah, Grant, it's supposed to be, first of all, it's supposed to be blizzard conditions in Buffalo on Sunday. And I believe I also saw it's supposed to be snowing in Wisconsin for the Packers game on tomorrow night.
So, okay, with that in mind, then I feel very nice about the Packers being the Dolphins. Very, very nice about that one. Yeah,
28 degrees.
And then what was the other one?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Okay, that's as expected. I don't know if Purdy's playing or not, but in a way, I would say maybe the snow kind of helps out San Fran.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Like,
we're talking about objectively speaking, Allen,
Buffalo Bills in the snow. That's superpowers. Like
Josh Allen has been specifically designed for this purpose.
Quite literally was biomanufactured in a lab for this environment, this atmosphere,
for this
this type of game. Yeah, I would say of all these, I want to say this real quick. We're both on Bengals over Steelers. And
I think it's just the Bengals are gonna at some point they're gonna get one of those games.
I just feel like
so good. Like
this is if the Bengals are kind of already eliminated, but if they lose this, it is true. We're tanking now if they lose this.
Zach Taylor gets fired. But if the Browns can beat the Steelers, the Bengals can definitely beat the Steelers.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking the Steelers losing last week makes me feel like they're not gonna lose back to back, and they have Cleveland next week, which the house on Pittsburgh for next week.
You would say that, except all they need is one win the rest of the season for Mike Tomlin to have a winning season. So I can fully foresee losing back to back games, whatever, to have a win.
With that in mind,
it's one to get a winning
season. Oh yeah, and we know he's not we know they're not getting like 12
We know
wins.
he
We know he's
locks
not
it.
finishing that much over
We know
500.
he
So
locks in when it comes to the end of the season when he's down a lot, so that he can go over 500. But because he's only one game away,
yeah.
like
Also,
it's not.
Steelers fans were kind of saying like that this is vintage Tomlin. Like he'll go and knock off the Ravens, like a big team where they're the underdog, and then the Steelers are favorited, and then they just lose. Like it's just Tomlin. All like it's the same
I just
story that they've
I think
seen their
that
whole life.
Joe Burrow has played so well this year. Like they're gonna get a win. They're
Yeah.
gonna get one of these. Like they barely lost the Ravens. They barely lost last week.
Yeah, bro. Like,
Like
dude, I was watching that live. Like, oh my god, I was like, well, the Chargers might charger themselves right now.
yeah,
But
like
yeah, no, the Bengals, they're obviously still very scary. They have a top 3 offense in the NFL. Like,
I
they're very
legitimately
scary.
think like you get rid of Zach Taylor, you upgrade the offensive line this next year, like in the draft. Defense you get in the free agency.
Yeah, defense, there's like a lot.
Secondary.
Yeah,
Secondary.
it's a lot. But there's still just so many parts. I mean,
look, like if
you got Burrow and
gonna,
Jamar,
you gotta extend Jamar first. But second of all, like if there's gonna be any year for you to like get into it and get like the high capital you need to fix one of those positions, this is the year to do it because I feel like the AFC has just kind of been like a lot closer this year than people would have.
Yeah. Because Chiefs aren't the world beaters that like, people were thinking.
If you asked me before the season, Chargers and Broncos both being in playoffs right now, I would be like, no. What?
Yeah.
What?
No, exactly.
Like, also Texans are still doing well, but they're like kind of mediocre. They're taking one of those playoff spots, but then you still got teams like the Ravens are great. Like every team really in that AFC North this year has been competitive. And I say competitive because the Browns are 3-8, but
now Trevor Lawrence is not playing in this game, correct?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Like with that, Everett, guess what the spread for that game is? And they are aware T-Law isn't playing. Guess what the line is for Texans Jags?
Well, I have it.
Okay.
-4.
It's -4. And without Mac Jones, you would think
without Trevor Lawrence.
Or with McCorkle at Q. McCorkle Mac and Cheese, still one of the funniest Cam Newton nicknames ever. Just call him Mac and Cheese. But with that in mind, I would think this line would be like a 5.5, a 6.
Well, it's in Jacksonville.
True. But I'm sniffing a little something fishy on this line.
The Texans have looked horrible, and also CJ Stroud. Overall, I don't know. You're frozen it. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
I got you. You're good.
CJ Stroud overall has, I think, the worst. He has the worst. CJ Stroud has the worst TD to interception ratio over like the past 5 weeks out of any quarterback in the NFL right now. I think it's him and Jordan Love are like the 2 worst right
now. Yeah. Like I feel like after how successful that first year went, it's just kind of difficult to expect.
I also have heard negative things about Bobby Slowick this year. I've heard Bobby Slowick is just kind of just taking a massive step back in play calling ability.
I haven't heard
CJ. That's what I heard. Also, Nico Collins being out for a while.
No, that screwed up a lot.
And Stephon Diggs got hurt, kind of problematic. Like, when your only wide receiver you had available was Tank Dell for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
Xavier Hutchinson is your wide receiver too. It's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Bobby Trees. My bad.
Yeah, shout Robert Woods, SC legend right there. But yeah, no, Texans, they're in a weird little like crossroads state right now. Like I'd still pick them to win their division.
No, there's no doubt on that. But they lost to the Titans last week, Grant. Like that is not acceptable.
No, it's not. And one thing that I would also say about the Texans that I'm just a little bit confused. I feel like they're so like conservative in red zone drives, like down the stretch. Like I just feel like D'Amico Ryans will gladly settle for a field goal anytime he has. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but it's like I don't think the Texans quite have
Well,
that
that's kind of
killer
that's kind of what I
flip
was that's
switch
kind of what I was
mentality.
talking about with the Vikings to begin the year. It was like, oh well, we finally have a kicker in Will Reichard. So now any opportunity
Yeah,
where
now you're
like, oh, we
relying
kick a
on him
field goal, would be
so
like, oh,
much.
we're just gonna kick a field goal. And it's the
Yeah,
same with Kaimi Farmbar. Like he's a great kicker, historically a great kicker.
yeah,
And D'Amico's just like, we don't have to worry. Like he's just don't worry about it. Like we don't have to be aggressive. He's gonna kick the field goal. We got
yeah,
points.
yeah. And you
We
saw it like
settled
a
the
little
points.
bit with Ravens the past few years. Like once you just get into field goal range with Tucker, like just don't throw a pick. We have 3 points.
Be
Don't
like, yeah,
throw that away.
either we're gonna score a touchdown, we'll get the first down,
Yeah,
or
we get
we'll
3
get the field
automatic.
goal. It's not gonna be like, hey, we're about to throw a 30-yard, we're gonna try and throw 30 yards downfield right now to go and get
Oh yeah,
go
no,
into first and goal. Right. Like we don't do
yeah.
that. It is just like, oh, we're either gonna get this first down being like running 3 times in a row or we're kicking this. So
Yeah, I would say another game that I'm interested in this week is Cardinals Vikings. I think I think we're about to see a bit of a masterclass performance out of Brian Flores, just demolishing Kyler Murray over and over and over again. Uh, I think it's gonna be one of those games where like Kyler, he is short, he is small, but like when he gets sacked, sometimes when he's scrambling and gets like tossed around, maybe tripped up from behind, he just looks so small compared to all the defenders tackling him. And I expect this to be a game where we just see a like Van Ginkel might swallow Kyler Murray, like chew him up, eat him.
the biggest thing that I would just say is the advantage for the Vikings here is they just played against a quarterback who essentially plays the exact same way as Kyler and Caleb Williams. Similar style,
Oh
similar
yeah,
like coming up
running
from the
with
same coach as
chicken
Lincoln Riley,
head cut
like running,
off.
similar kind of setup, and that like your defense is now going to be pretty well acclimated to a quarterback who's going to try and run around and make plays that way.
And you also
Also,
have
hey,
Danny Dimes to give you a look. Oh,
yeah,
what are we talking
yeah,
about? What are we
yeah,
talking about?
yep, no,
Had to
exactly.
include that. Had to include that.
Yeah, I was literally about to make that point before, like right before you said it. You cut me on. You beat me to it.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say another thing that I found pretty interesting. Like right now, Vikings are still third in the NFL in terms of EPA allowed per dropback. So that's specifically looking pass offense.
yeah,
Uh, Another little thing I'm looking at that I found interesting. You guys run the least cover one in the league, the
yeah,
most
mostly
cover
covers
two man
zero.
in the league, and you guys are tied for fourth in the NFL in blitz rate, which that makes sense. Brian Flores, you expect it, but you guys are still running the most too high out of anyone in the NFL. And I would imagine in this game, like if Arizona can't get the run game going, it could be a little tough. And I don't think they're going to get it going. So this might be difficult for Arizona.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I tried to I'm trying to. Oh,
Slight
cool,
slight
cool.
difficulties.
This is working. This is working really well right now.
I think we got you
Yeah,
back now. I think.
all right. It's fine now. It's fine now. Yeah, it's fine now. You know what? I just think that there's probably so many people here now for Thanksgiving that I'm gonna shout it out. Cox Internet sucks. Do not use it. I don't have a choice though, so that's unfortunate for me. But Cox Internet sucks. I was trying to look up. Remember at the start of the year, Grant? We were talking about okay, September Sam. That was the thing. September Sam for the
Mhm.
Vikings. September Sam. And then we
Samuel.
were like, okay, what's the other thing that we could do? And so, oh, December Darnold. We're about to be in December, Grant. So I was trying to look at Sam Darnold's stats in December, but the moment I did that, the entire internet decided to just cease existing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
So I
say.
don't have that stat, but
I thought you were gonna say it's about to be an awful like 2 starts he made for the Jets, and you're just like, let's forget about December
no,
Darnold.
he made some starts. I mean, he played last year on the 49ers in December. Um,
I believe his Rose Bowl against Penn State was on the 1st, not the 31st. So that would be January, Sam, not December Darnold for that Rose Bowl against Penn State.
Well, the preparation would have been in December, to be fair.
That is true. That is correct. But yeah.
Sorry, I had to kill a fruit fly.
Yeah,
it's been annoying me for the last like 3 hours.
Yeah, I'd say last big game of the week, Eagles, Ravens. Lamar doesn't lose the NFC. So there's your analysis.
Yeah, he has not lost to an NFC besides Daniel Jones.
No, yeah, like that is the analysis. Ravens.
Oh, hey, if the Vikings have to play the Ravens, I'd be spooked. Lamar. It would still be losing to Daniel Jones. Okay, well, we'll wrap up with college football, Grant. There's some stuff to talk about. First thing, just really quickly want to mention, Florida State fans up in arms earlier this week regarding Texas and Quinn Ewers potentially not playing. He's back. He's back now.
Yeah. I will give you the floor on this one because as an Ohio State fan with a history of third string quarterbacks making the playoff and winning a natty, I might know a thing or two about that. So
yeah, it's also just there's a big difference between perception of like if Tate Rodemaker came out last year or whatever the second string originally was, if he came out
and lit it up
and was slinging it, there wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah,
but he stunk. He stunk. Right?
Oh, and stunk it up.
You know the Pat the Pat Bev meme where he's holding his nose up, just pinching his nose. That's how bad it was. Stunk. Just Dr. Seuss. Stank, stunk. That's what he was.
Yeah. Right? Yuck. Gross.
All right. But the difference is there's that, or there's Arch Manning, Grant, who I don't know, might be better than Quinn Ewers as it is right now. And came out. I think he has 9 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Ran 70 yards for a touchdown earlier this season. Has played SEC schools, not crappy ACC schools.
And I think you just said, but it's like it is also a Manning we're talking about here. So yeah, a little bit different. Thing is, like I saw FSU. The bigger thing was like, oh, FSU students like, oh, backup quarterback now. Like, so I guess they can't be in it. No. Your backup quarterback just sucked. Yeah,
all right,
for the Ohio State year. Now, JT Barrett gets hurt against Michigan, and he gets hurt like fourth quarter of that game. And after that week, there were narratives being spun that the Big 12 should get that last spot over Ohio State. There was a lot of talk about that, but the issue that year is the Big 12 didn't have a conference championship game. They started it the year after, but for that first season, they didn't have one. Ohio State goes to the Big 10 championship game against Wisconsin, who was a top 10 team at the time. And with Cardale Jones in his first start, they beat Wisconsin 56-0. That's why Ohio State got in. Like they 56-0'd a top 10 team with their third string quarterback. Like that's why they got in. And then they obviously won the natty. So in hindsight, it was the good
difference here, by the way. Team. I don't know. There's this guy, what's his name? Tua came in, second string quarterback, and won a natty over the original starter.
For Jalen Hurts. Yep. And then the year after, Jalen Hurts came in for Tua to win the SEC championship game.
Hey,
it's a beautiful sport, folks. It's a beautiful sport. But it is a different situation than going from Jordan Travis to Tate Rodemaker. So there's a pretty notable.
Yeah. Also, by the way, in a 12-team playoff, Florida State would have been in the 12-team playoff. They still would have been executed by whatever team that they ended up playing.
And at least Florida State fans can always say we had. And I don't even know if it's true or not, but they can just say they had opt-outs for the meaningless bowl game. And just forget, I believe Georgia won that game 63-0, Everett, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was 56-0, but it might have been 60.
I believe it was a 60 burger. Don't quote me on that, but if my memory is correct, I think it was a 60 burger. But yeah, obviously this is big week, rivalry week. My favorite week of the year as an Ohio State fan. But, real quick first, I want to go over what my 12-team bracket would look like right now.
If rat poison or without rat poison?
No rat poison. So we're going
Hey,
one.
immediate asterisk on this. Just
We're
clarify.
going
Immediate
1-12,
asterisk on no rap boys.
but Oregon, Texas, Miami, Boise State, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Indiana, SMU, Arizona State. So in theory, if I were to like 1-10 them, I would have Indiana at 10th over SMU and Arizona State.
Yeah, I also just want to say if Boise State makes the playoffs, whoever they play is going to absolutely eviscerate.
Yeah,
Like
so
I
that's
said this
kind of what I want
before.
to talk about. But
I
yeah,
said this to somebody else. But okay, so last season, Grant, for Tulane, um, we made the conference championship. We won the conference championship, right? Like I think we had 2 losses, maybe it was 1 loss when we got it. I don't exactly remember. Um, but it was very clear down the stretch. Like we were still winning the games, but like it was very clear we were not playing well. And inside the building, to me, there was a distinct feeling of it's gonna bite us in the ass at some point. Like we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, but it's at some point it's gonna bite us in the ass, and it's just a matter of when, not if. And we ended up getting eviscerated by SMU in the conference championship, and that's when it bit us in the ass because we finally played a team that was competent enough to be able to see all the things we haven't been doing well, right, and take advantage of that. And we never changed anything. We didn't fix those problems. And to me, Boise State's in the exact same position. Boise State has gone down the stretch. They've won the games, but they consistently have made the same errors and they have not fixed the errors. Once they play a team that's competent enough, they are going to lose the game. And it's a matter of, okay, is that going to be in the championship game or in the Mountain West? Or is
well,
that
I
going to be
just
in the
don't
playoffs?
think UNLV is capable of like just.
Well, Grant, UNLV kept them in, I think it was a
No, I know,
3-point game.
no, I know,
And
but the dominating factor talking about, I don't think UNLV is.
I'm not saying dominating. I'm just saying that was in our situation, SMU dominated us. And at that point, obviously, SMU is a great team. SMU is currently the leading team in the ACC, and that's the same team that played us last year. All right, I'm not saying UNLV is that, but I'm saying UNLV in this situation, in comparison to that, would be the team to take advantage compared to all the teams that Boise State has been barely beating, like a 2-8 Wyoming, or barely beating who was like San Jose State, which I know that scoreboard said more, but it was not. It was a close game through the whole time. And I think it's either going to come down to UNLV is going to take advantage of it. They're going to beat them, or the first team that they play in the playoffs is going to just absolutely eviscerate. So like I feel like if it was me, based on my history, I think that there's a sense of impending doom in that locker room. They keep winning. They find ways to win, but it is that they have been barely winning. It has gone downhill substantially.
Yeah, I would say right now, it got revealed that well, I'll get into it a little bit more, but right now Ohio State would be a 3-touchdown favorite on a neutral field against Boise State and Arizona State. But what I want to get at is right now, Everett, how it is currently lined up right now today with the college football playoff standings. The winner of the Big Ten championship game will play the winner of Georgia and Tennessee. And the loser of the Big Ten championship game will get to host a home game against Arizona State and then play Boise State the next week. Ohio State and Oregon would be 3-touchdown favorites over both Arizona State and Boise State. I don't have the exact number for Georgia, but I believe the spread would be around 3 points for Oregon or Ohio State against Georgia on a neutral field. So, yeah, I want Ohio State to lose the Big Ten championship game. I don't see a reason.
Yeah, no, I think
why
that there
winning
was.
it
I don't
helps.
know why they didn't reseed after each round.
Yeah, that's
like,
what they should do.
Makes sense. They should have done that.
Yeah, like it's
really,
the NFL.
genuinely does not make any sense that they did it this way.
Makes 0 sense.
Now, look, we're gonna get into some rat poison here. I have to do it. I have to do it.
Well, just remember, you're the one who addressed it, not me. So I'm not liable for any damages.
We're getting we're getting into some rat poison. All
Sue
right.
Everett, not me, Tulane. Sue him, not me.
And I'm going to preface this with these are all hypothetical. This is not what's happening. I am now taking accountability. Tulane is currently ranked 17. Okay. They're ahead. This was a massive week in the rankings for Tulane and for the prospects. And the aspect that Tulane is ahead of two of the three Big 12 teams and is, I think, 6 behind Boise State. Now, in my mind, I don't know about you. My assumption is if either of those two teams lose, if Arizona State loses or if Boise State loses and Tulane wins the championship game and versus Memphis tomorrow, Tulane is in the playoffs. Additionally,
yes,
Tulane being above either of those Big 12 teams, I could see if Tulane handedly beats either of these next two teams and Arizona State kind of, even if they win, they don't win by much, Tulane could jump them and that could put them in the playoffs. So the one spot between Tulane and the Big 12 champion right now, I think is more so it's not one space. It's really 16A, 16B. And whoever plays better over the next two games is going to get that 12th spot. And I think a lot of people were talking about how, a Big 12 team, there's no way they snub a Big 12 team the first playoffs. I don't think that that's true. And I also don't think that it is going to be a situation of, oh, well, look, the Big 12 teams are all taking each other out kind of deal. The Big 12 sucks this year, Grant. The Big 12 sucks. And Tulane has projected to play in ULL, in Raging Cajuns. Raging Cajuns SP Plus, Grant, is ranked higher than any of the teams, I think, currently situated to win the Big 12 as the highest ranked opponent than any of those other teams have
played. Okay.
And beaten. So that's just the standard of the situation.
Well, I'll just say this. I think getting or winning the Big 12, the Mountain West and the AAC, I'd say they're all like the same.
No, I agree with that. I think literally going to.
I don't think winning the Big 12 makes you better than Boise State or Tulane.
I do think though between Arizona State and it has to specifically be Arizona State, but between them and Tulane, assuming both win out, it's going to come down to who plays better football over the next 2 weeks. And if Tulane does, Tulane will be in. And if Arizona State does, Arizona State will be in. And if Boise State loses at all, Boise State's out. Both those teams will move up.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's true. I think, though, with Big 12, it's like there's a pretty solid chance a 3-loss team is going to win that conference. Like,
yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that.
Like, that conference is just not very good. Whoever the Big 12 plays, like as an Ohio State fan over here, I'm licking I hope the Big 12 gets that 4 seed because, boy, that's a cakewalk. I'd love that.
Yeah, but one thing I did this is not rat poison because this is just a fact, Grant. Here are the teams with the most FBS wins since 2022, Grant. Georgia with 36, Michigan with 33, Oregon with 33, Tulane at 32, Alabama 31, Ohio State 31, Washington 31, Penn State 30, and Texas 29. So Tulane over the last 2 seasons, I guess technically 2.5 seasons, yes. Tulane has the 4th most wins amongst all teams in college football.
Well, I just realized this, and a slight interesting factor, but there's a chance that a former Tulane coach could inadvertently send.
Yes, I did Tulane see. Willie does have an opportunity here
with BYU.
Yeah, Willie does have an opportunity here.
Yeah, he could make one last gift to the great people of Tulane. One last gift as a head coach. But yeah, no, it's going to be an exciting weekend. Real quick, of course, I'm very excited about Ohio State, Michigan. The juice isn't quite. Yeah, no, it isn't here this year. All Michigan people are expecting to lose. I was seeing a couple of my friends from Michigan recently, and they literally said so, like by 50 or 60, and I was like, dude, if you're not familiar with Ohio State and massive spreads against Michigan, if you believe that's actually going to happen. This is the second largest spread in rivalry history. As of right now, Ohio State is a 21-point favorite. The largest spread in rivalry history was in 2020 when Ohio State was a 30-point favorite over Michigan, and Michigan pussied out of the game due to COVID, despite having a spirited practice the day the game would have been played. So you guys be the decision of that. Also, remember, Harbaugh was 0-5 at that time against Ohio State, the only coach in rivalry history to begin 0-5 against the other. If he was 0-6
right now,
Ryan Day is 2-2.
Okay.
2-3.
Okay.
He has been here since 2019. My God. Ryan's 2-3. Harbaugh Harbaugh technically didn't coach the last game, so he technically finishes as 2-5 as Michigan coach against Ohio State. 2-6 if you count when he bitched out of the game. But yeah, the only time Ohio State's ever lost at home to Michigan in my life was 2 years ago. Only time in my life they've ever lost to Michigan at home. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the rest of my life. But this is the second largest spread. The third and fourth largest spreads in rivalry history were Ohio State -17 and -16. Very similar scenario to this season. 10-0 or a 10-1, 11-0 Ohio State team going up against a barely 500 Michigan team, massive point favorite, and they lost outright both times to Michigan. That was under the John Cooper years in the 90s. So with that being said, I just feel like if you're a neutral spectator, Michigan +21 is the play. Like, that's just a lot of points.
Yeah. How much faith do you have in Davis?
It's going to be the craziest game for me because it's just going to be ridiculous. Like the one memory I have with Davis specifically when he found out how much of an Ohio State fan I was, it was during our freshman homecoming formal, and that was the night of Ohio State Penn State, the only time James Franklin has beaten Ohio State in his career. And I was watching that last quarter with Davis, and he like saw my Ohio State fandom on display. And I just remember he had zero connection to Ohio State or Michigan at the time at all. And I just remember him having so much joy watching me see my team lose. He had zero affiliation with Michigan at the time, but he has been born from day one to enjoy Ohio people losing. That is instilled in him. So any Michigan fan watching right now, like, that is true. He hated Ohio State from day one before Michigan was involved at all. He's always hated Ohio State. So
hey, you know what? That's a great clip. That's a great clip to put up before the game on this weekend.
It's true. I'll like he really liked watching me be miserable seeing Penn State beat Ohio State. He thought it was hilarious. So that might be in his head this week. I have no idea. I'd also say to Michigan fans, no, I did not reach out to try to distract him or anything. I will not do that. I will not try to distract Davis. But it's going to be just a whirlwind of feelings and emotions. Like if he scores a touchdown, celebrates, like looks into the crowd and like makes any type of statement, he's dead to me for the rest of the year. I'll speak to him in 2025.
This would end in Ryan Day's execution, but what if Davis Warren beat Ohio State?
No, if he did that, it would have to be the most memorable game of my life. I'll never forget. And boy, maybe I'll be thanking him in 6 years. That's the day we got Ryan Day fired and the next coach is goated. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
I hope it has a fairy tale ending if Ryan loses. But I mean, yeah, you know what? Let's just say this. Like, if Ryan Day loses on Saturday, you're going to see first, you're it's going to be the most viewed TikTok we've ever uploaded ever. So I'll start with that. It will be the most viewed TikTok of all time. It will probably be taken down quickly for violating community guidelines when I incite violence towards Ryan Day. So that will probably also happen.
I'm just thinking that it's going to be this opening scene from Game of Thrones, and you're going to just put Ryan Day's face over that
Quite
guy.
literally, I will be Ned Stark. He will be the wilding on the wall who told the truth. But I don't care because I'm done with you. If that I'm done with you. And hey, Ryan was talking how this game means more to him than anything. He compared it to losing his father, which was crazy.
Yeah, you're saying it's the worst thing that's ever happened to him since that.
But with that being said, that is how you have to approach this job if you're Ohio State head coach. John Cooper, when he was in the 90s, he would be 11-0, 10-1, goated teams Everett with like Orlando Pace as his left tackle. Like Chris Carter is his wide receiver. Like dogs everywhere. Eddie George is his running back, and then they just lose to Michigan. And I remember hearing a story from my dad, Coach Cooper, when he was there, going through his heyday of losing to Michigan with overpowered teams and still losing. It was a very common occurrence for people to TP his house, throw bricks through his windows, like cut down trees in his front yards. And not one time did Coach Cooper ever complain because he felt sorry that he was losing, and he felt like he deserved it because he should not be losing those games. He completely understood. Didn't complain one time about that at all. So that is how the great people of Ohio look at this game. It is the only game that matters. If Ohio State shit pumps Michigan, then loses to Oregon, and then got bounced in the playoff, I'd obviously be very disappointed, but at least we destroyed Michigan. It will be a successful year.
With that, though, we're going to wrap up here. So thank you guys so much for watching, listening, rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at Waterboy Pod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Ever6 and at Waterboy Grant. We post new episodes every week on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. We also post exclusive content on TikTok and on Instagram. So make sure to check us out there as well. With that, we'll see you guys next week. There's only one episode this week. Next week. With that, see you guys next week.